Yo, what's up YouTube? Firefist Chris here, and today I'm bringing you guys my deck profile on Yamato for OP-04. Quick backstory, this is actually the leader I was using towards the end of OP-03, this and Ace. And I really do enjoy this leader. Obviously, it's a lot different than being able to play regular Big Mom or Katakuri, since you can't run the 10-drop Mom. However, now for OP-04, this deck did get some buffs, and it's more of a mid-range, I would say, deck. You kind of want to take life really early on and be able to get the leader's ability and defend out. So I'll go straight into the deck profile here now. Obviously, for right now, there's not much yellow Wano support. I do believe we're going to get one in OP-06 they just announced recently. So until then, you're going to run the Big Mom package for Pudding, obviously, to search most of your cards in your deck, the 2Ks especially. Strizen, this card is really good against Law, Zoro, and just in general, it's a 2K counter. I did cut down on the Sanjis. Sanjis, I found it's a decent card, but I find it a lot of times to be too slow. You can kind of play it on your turn 2 if you kind of want to go aggro against whatever you're playing against, like if it's yellow or blue or anything like that. But besides that, the deck got a lot of 2K counters, so that's the reason why I cut down on the Sanjis. It's just really not needed. The newer cards, obviously, for OP-04, you have to run is 4 Beige. Obviously, a really good card. Being able to stop something from attacking or going for a game is really useful in the late game scenarios. So, 4 Beige. Another new card is 4 Amande. Another 2K counter. This card is actually decent against Law as well, or even Zoro, being able to rest lower cost bodies. I believe it's 2 or less if you discard a trigger. So that's it for the 2K counters, I believe. And now we'll go into the characters, which I run for Perospero. Perospero obviously is just a great card. It's good for keeping that mid-range kind of tempo on, where you can kind of just summon multiple of these. Even on your 6th Dawn turn, I like just dropping, honestly, 2 of them, because it just kind of gives you good pressure throughout the turn. Then for the other character cards, I run 3 of the Cracker. So I've been going back and forth with this card. I think it's really good for this deck to have triggers that you can play out of life. Especially now for this format, it's kind of slowed down a lot. A lot of people play into Cracker pretty heavily if you get it out of life. So it's a good card for even closing out games, I would say, unexpectedly. Running it, just a good card to get out of trigger. I actually ended up cutting one of the Crackers so I could run 3 of the Katakuris. I think this card is probably one of the best cards in this deck. You really do want to go low on life. So when you go low on life, you can summon this, you can arrange your life, and then be able to attack life. A lot of times with this deck, I would suggest really prioritizing attacking life until you have to prioritize the field. But you kind of really just want to be attacking life with 5s, 6s, and just kind of non-stop pressure, and then be able to counter out late game. It's kind of where I find this deck excelling in. Then we have, for another new card, obviously for Sanji, it's a 4/5 blocker. You kind of have to run it in this deck. And obviously the trigger, you can play it from life, so it helps you out a lot. Then for vanillas, I run 3 of the Randolphs. Kind of just run it to run it. If I go first, I can play it on curve. Or at the very least, it's a 1K counter. Then for the larger characters, I run 3 of the 7-drop Big Mom. I think this card is probably one of the more important cards in the whole deck, honestly. It kind of established a lot of tempo for this deck. If you're at 2 Dawn, the ability being able to go to 3 if they don't want to trash their own life, and then go right back to being 6K once you take the first life again, is just really good. It puts a lot of pressure on board, honestly. Then I'm only running 2 of the Katakuri 8 drops. You kind of more want to play this conservatively, honestly. Sometimes you might want to put your Sanji in life. A lot of times, not really. I don't ever foresee myself putting stuff into my life. This is more for getting rid of problematic cards that the deck can't really handle. So only running 2 of the Katakuris. Then for the next card, which is now the new boss monster for this deck, since it doesn't have 10 drop, I'm running 3 of the 9-drop Yamatos. Yamato is really good for this deck, just because, like I said, you kind of really want to go low on this deck. and then be able to drop this, get rid of blockers, kind of push for game, gaining a life. It just does a lot for the deck of what it wants to do in its playstyle of just being low on life, and then being able to potentially add a trigger from the top of your deck into your life is really useful. And that's it for the 9-drop. Then next we have for the event, I am running 4 of the Narabuka Arrow. So this card is kind of a mini Hell's Judgment, and especially when you're 6k, this is a really hard card to kind of game me with. Being able to reduce something -3 if you have 2 or less life, and then the trigger itself is really useful. A lot of times I'll end up just using the trigger and applying more pressure. Keep attacking life while, you know, keeping my life pretty decent. So I'm running right now 4 of those, and then for the last card, I run 3 of the Thunderbolts. Thunderbolt kind of just helps you clear stuff. Yellow has a problem with clearing characters. In this deck, I feel like it's really good actually seeing Thunderbolt in your hand, because there's plays where you, if you're on your 6th on and you're not low in life, or they're not attacking your life, you can trash your life, be able to get a surprise cracker hit, or trash your life, summon the Katakuri, arrange your life, attack directly because it will gain rush if you're lower now. So this card is just really versatile. Being able to use your abilities to, you know, apply more pressure using this card, I do appreciate a lot. And all in all, that is the deck profile for Yamato. Now, this deck list, this is more for, you know, if you're planning to go to a serious tournament, you know, don't expect to do, you know, too well with this deck. It's not a bad deck. However, there is decks like Strawbeard kind of have a problem against, or even just mirror matches against yellow as well. If they last long enough turns to be able to start dropping the 10 drops, you can kind of change your 9 drop, but it's still not as beneficial because there's no real way for you to get rid of the 10 drop Big Mom. So that was the deck profile. If you guys do enjoy the content and want to continue seeing more deck profiles, or as well as if you have any ideas for other, you know, whether it be duel videos or sim videos or deck profiles, let me know in the comments below. And like always, Fire Fist Chris signing out. Peace.